Hey everybody, welcome to Monday Mindset. I am Erin Hart. I am a registered nurse health coach, and I empower women to get off of the dieting roller coaster and to lose weight for the last time with a sugar and flour free lifestyle. This is the time each week where I like to share just little insights that I've had throughout the week to hopefully inspire you and to help you to develop that, to master your mindset. Because as we know, weight loss is a mental game. So, the thought that I have for you today is just that failure isn't final. And the reason I'm sharing this vlog is because the past few weeks I've been struggling with, I don't know, with life in general, with being a mom, with work, with all the things. With my program though is what has where it has shown up for me. So as someone who experiences food addiction, a lot of times when I do start to struggle in life, the canary in the coal mine is my food. And so that sometimes I notice that there's something going on with me emotionally, or I can tell that I need more support when I start to struggle with my food. I've had so um, for those of you who don't know my story, back in 2020, I was 284 pounds. When I adopted a sugar and flour free lifestyle, I lost 125 pounds, and I've kept it off for a couple of years. And from the outside, it can seem like, oh, like, it's easy for her. Uh, there she never struggles. But I want to be very clear and vulnerable and just help you to see my struggle sometimes. That a third of the time it feels really easy and effortless. A third of the time I just feel okay, but a third of the time it still feels hard for me too. And even in maintenance, it takes effort to maintain and to commit to this identity and this lifestyle. Um, so yesterday I was watching well, let me just first say the past week or a couple of weeks, I've been struggling with my quantities, and I've been, I've just been feeling unmotivated, and generally, I've been feeling kind of worn out. I've been sick just with a cold, and but you know how it is when you're a mom and you're sick with a cold and the kids, you're trying to rest and then the kids are jumping all over you and asking you to make them lunch and stuff like that. So it's just, I've been feeling kind of at my, at my wits' end a little bit and just tired, I guess, right? And that's been showing up in my food. So I wish I was a model of perfection for all of you of how to perfectly, ex- you know, do a sugar and flour free lifestyle. But unfortunately, my struggle, it just gives me a lot of empathy. And I don't have I haven't had a straight line to success. I sometimes my program is like a bumpy road. And so just wanted to share with you that I do have a lot of empathy for those of you that experience food addiction. And I think it's a good opportunity in this video to just help you to see how I can model constant course correction and how I model compassionate curiosity and a mindset of unstoppability. Those are the things that I are the most important things I've learned in the past 3 years. Since I started the sugar and flour free lifestyle, is to just not beat myself up when I mess up, and that failure isn't final. You fall down 7 times, you get up 8. You just keep going, you keep trying, and you just be kind to yourself in the process. And for me, that has been the biggest epiphany, I guess you would call it, since starting this way of life. The biggest paradigm shift that I've experienced is how to overcome the all or nothing mentality, and just even when I mess up, even when I struggle, I can still focus on that life I want and who I want to be, and recognize that a setback does not mean that all is lost, right? So, so I hope that by me sharing the messy middle with you, and that I have been struggling with my quantities lately, I've even had some moments that I've binged in the last couple of weeks. I hope that it just helps you to feel safe to also share your experience. This is a shame and guilt-free zone. And part of developing a winning strategy is to learn from your mistakes and also to learn from the mistakes of others. But we can't learn from the mistakes of others and avoid the mistakes that they've made unless they share those mistakes openly. So I hope that as you are developing your winning strategy, you can learn from my mistakes and also feel safe in sharing your struggle. This last weekend, last night, I was watching a show on Amazon Prime. It's called A Million Miles Away. And it is such an inspiring movie. It really, uh, it really just touched me a lot. It's a story about Jose Hernandez. It's a true story. He was a migrant farm worker. So his family immigrated, I think, from Mexico, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But immigrated to the United States, and they were migrant farm workers, so they picked foods on the farms. And when he was a young boy, he would go to work, at 4, he would wake up at 4 a.m. to go work in the fields before he even went to school. So just this beautiful, hardworking family. And what's really inspiring about this man is that, 30 years later, he became an astronaut. And, oh, I'm going to cry in this again. But so Jose Hernandez, his path was not easy, but he saw the moon landing and he just had the vision of, uh, of becoming an astronaut. He was incredibly bright and hardworking, and he knew what he wanted. So, but at the time, his dream felt really impossible. But he had a teacher that believed in him, um, and what I love about him is just his failure tolerance. That he became an engineer. He overcame like so many obstacles for a migrant farm worker, just an incredible person. And so he started applying every year to NASA. And after 6 rejections, his wife found all of his applications and so they got to talking. Okay, like, well, what if this is something that you really want? What do the people who are astronauts, what do they have that you don't have? And so even though he had failed 6 times up to this point, what he did was reverse engineer his goal. He looked at what successful people do, and he reverse engineered that, and that's how he created his strategy for how he would prepare himself to become that person. So every year he became a better candidate. He got his pilot's license. He got scuba certified in tons of hours in the water. He learned Russian. He started running and he ran a marathon. He became an athlete. And all of this while he had 5 kids at home. And so, like, such an inspiring person, and just his perseverance of not giving up. But he failed again and again and again. And he failed 11 times he got rejected 11 times to NASA. And so the last time he went in person and he just turned in his application. And anyway, it was just so inspiring how he just had such failure tolerance. Like, he would just he recognized that failure isn't final. And he went on to become an astronaut. It's such an inspiring and incredible story. Sorry if it's a spoiler alert, but please watch the movie. It's really inspiring. And what I really just loved about that is that sometimes success is a bumpy road. Uh, when you have a goal of achieving a healthy goal body after struggling with food addiction, uh, just know that failure is not final. And even on the path, sometimes the path is bumpy. You make mistakes. I know that I have made so many mistakes on my journey, and but I'm so grateful for all of those mistakes because it's helped me to learn and adjust my strategy going forward. So even this week, when I've been sick, when I've been worn out and totally unmotivated, I've had like some weight creep because of exceptions with my quantities, um and it feels like a failure, which but to me, like, failure is my friend. I have learned in the last 3 years that failure is my friend, that our mistakes are just steps toward success. So if we can learn from our mistakes, if we can be kind to ourselves, if we can have compassionate curiosity and just continue to move forward, even when we don't feel like it, even when we want to give up, even when we're discouraged, that is how we can achieve success in this lifestyle. We all have our comfort zone, and anytime you want to take your life to the next level, we kind of have a set point that our brains try to take us back to. It's like a thermostat that we're 68 degrees, and if we want to take our lives to 78 degrees or 90 degrees, the air conditioner turns on, and then we can start to self-sabotage, or we can, and it can it can feel like an uphill battle. But really, to take our lives to the next level, we can't do it alone. We have to up level our mindset and up level our way of thinking, but we also have to up level our support system. So as I've been reflecting on the past few weeks where I've been struggling with my program, with my quantities, I've been kind of taking a look at how can I optimize my support system, because some of those things that I've been doing to support myself have kind of gone out the window. And so it's been an opportunity for me to look at ways that I can delay, delegate, and disappoint in my life, to open up space for self-care. I've reached out. So I hope that, like, what I want to do is just kind of show you what I am doing right now, to course correct and how that looks for me. This is not the first time I've course corrected. I have course corrected so many times. I've become kind of a master at course correcting. So some of the things that I do, and that I am doing, is just like praying for help, reaching out to my higher power, asking for strength above my own. I force myself to connect. Tendency, as most of us do, to isolate when we start to struggle. So forcing myself to do the opposite of that and to connect more, especially when I don't feel like it, because no one can get out of a rut alone. So some of the people I've reached out to are my coach, which during this whole process, I've been very open with her of where I am and when I binged or when I have struggled, that I've reached out and been open about that and honest with her throughout the whole thing. But I'm also looking for ways how I can further optimize my support system. And so I've reached back out to my mastermind group, to try to get some some things scheduled there where we can start to meet again. I have reached out to my therapist who I have through the hospital that I work at. So that's always so helpful to kind of help me to do the inner work, because I recognize that a lot of times when I'm having a struggle with my food, it's really just like an emotional struggle that's showing up with old coping mechanisms. So I scheduled an appointment with her to do some inner work, right? I've been filling out the compassionate curiosity exercise. So when I do go off track, I just find it so helpful to fill out that worksheet, to do some self reflection, like what happened, what were some of the thoughts I was having, what were the emotions that I was feeling, and what is it that I really want and really need? How can I meet those emotional needs without food next time? And what can I learn from this experience so that next time I make a different choice? And so all of the tools that are in the Mindset Mastery Workbook, they're really just tools that I use, and that I create, and that I learned about, and I have created and adapted, um, because they're tools that I need and that I use. And in fact, when I was filling out the compassionate curiosity exercises this week, it just reminded me that I need a little bit more help sometimes to put my feelings into words. And so that's why this week, one of the new tools I made you is the emotions wheel. So you can be able to give a name to the feeling that you're feeling. And so, all of these tools that I create is because I am using them and I need them. And so, and I just hope that they can be helpful for you too. Um, but anyway, that's kind of where that one came up, because I couldn't think of the names of, like, or I couldn't really, when you feel a big emotion but you don't know how to express it in words. And so I created that to help me. And so I hope it will also help you. Uh, yeah, so, just being open, telling my family how I'm feeling, and, um, and yeah, just remembering that every day is a new day. So I try not to ever miss twice in a row, but sometimes I do. Um, but just recommitting every day. It's like leaving the past in the past, having a forward focus, and just recognizing that winter never lasts forever. Like, the hard times, they always pass. So you just do your best to get through them. And one of the things that's helped me a lot to get through it is just sticking with my automated habits, the habits that really don't take a lot of willpower for me anymore. Like, every night I automatically go to plan and prep my food for the next day. Grocery shopping is automatic for me, so that's really helped me to have those habits to carry me through. Even if I haven't been perfect, I can still continue like the habits that I've been trying to automate. But sometimes I also just have to go back to the basics and focus on the most important foundational habits, which are sticking to my meal plan, connecting with my support person, and planning and prepping my food. So, anyway, that's kind of how I've been course correcting this time around. And I hope that in sharing that, it can give you some ideas if you are in need of course correction, or in the future, if you ever start to struggle, that you can know that course correction, it takes practice. And I have definitely had a lot of practice, and I feel like I've kind of become a master at it. And the key to me is just being open and honest and connecting, increasing my support. So I hope that this is helpful for you, and just knowing that it's really all about progress and not perfection. Even when we have setbacks, it doesn't mean that all is lost. You just learn from it. Seek the lesson. And be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up when you mess up. Just have that mindset of unstoppability and keep trying. We get stronger. our 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 uh, our mistakes are really just opportunities for growth. And I hope that as I share this, that you can feel comfortable also sharing your experiences, that you can reach out when you start to struggle. This is a shame and guilt-free community. And anyway, I just hope that you feel my love for you. And while I do wish I was perfect, I think that I am, well, I'm just really grateful for the empathy that my struggles have given me for those of you who also struggle. And sending you all my love, and I'll see you next week.